Hello, Gary Crowley here with step 2 of foot pain relief. And what we're going to do here is 4 basic things to make sure that your lowest lumbar, your L5 and your S1 and S2, that basically are the nerves that end up down in your feet. We want to make sure they're free and they're not getting yanked on and pulled on way up here and causing the pain in the bottom of your foot. Especially if you get L5 pain, S2 also is an issue. So those are the nerves that end up down there. So a lot of times I end up fixing people's bottom of their feet by you release their L5, the muscles around there, and all of a sudden their foot pain stops. So we're going to do passive low back stretch. We're going to do a a reclined hip stretch, a seated hip stretch, and a wonderful hamstring stretch. So I will lead you to it. Gary Crowley here, and now we are going to do a passive low back stretch. This is a fantastic stretch for any lower back, hip issues, and even some of the issues that might run all the way down to your Achilles and ankles. But it's a very simple stretch and it's enjoyable to do, so let's get to it. I'm going to take you're going to need some pillows and some support. This is an Iyengar yoga bolster. It's just a firm, soft surface. You could use some couch cushions that are firm. You could stack up some pillows. You could actually stack up some towels. You can do anything you want to get this thing. Your back's going to be hanging off this a little bit. So what you do is you put whatever you're going to use here. You take a pillow for your head. You put it here, and you lie on this cushion, like so, and basically you want your low back hanging off this cushion, getting a little traction, and that means that most of your weight of your hips is actually on the table or on the floor. You want just a little, you just want just enough so you're feeling a little bit of traction. I'm probably about 4 inches up once this thing is compressed, and then what you want to do is you want to put your feet, the soles of your feet together once you're comfortable, and then you want to take a pillow on each side and stick it kind of under, just to support your knee a little bit. You want to feel a tiny bit of a stretch in these legs, but you mostly want most of the work going on in your low back. You sit here, I'm nice and comfortable. You can read a book, you can meditate, you can listen to the radio. Do whatever you want. But if you stay here for about 5 minutes, probably 5 minutes first time around, and then maybe take a half-hour break, do another 5 minutes. Once you're comfortable with this, you could probably do it for 10 or 12 minutes at a time. And then when you go to get out, first you take your pillows out, then you bring your feet together first, and then whether you're on the floor or on a table, you just gently lean on one elbow, kind of roll out of it, and take your time. This might need a second or two to get used to gravity again, but that is your passive low back stretch, and it's a fantastic stretch. Can't do it too much, but again, it's gentle traction on the low back. You're not putting all the weight of your hips on that low back. You just want to feel a nice gentle traction, and 5-10 minutes of that, and everything, especially the stuff you can't actually get your hands on, starts to release, and a lot of times that alone will fix your back issues. So thanks, and I look forward to hearing how it goes. Stretch 1, lie on your back, and basically here's what you're going to do. You're going to cross one leg over the other, and we're going to be stretching our butt, basically this side though, and the leg that is crossed, you take the arm side of the leg that's crossed, and you're going to shoot it over your shin. Same arm as the leg that's crossed, shoot it over your shin. Then you take this hand, pull it through, put it through the hole, and grab that forearm. And you can pull this toward you, and when you get a nice high grip on that, then you can just hang out and relax for 20-30 seconds. And you will feel this in your butt. You will feel this release your hips. And you cannot do this stretch too much. It's great. If you have back issues, you do this stretch. A lot of times this will just fix it. Now notice when I do this, I like to do it in one motion. I kind of pull this leg with this hand while I do that, so I can really shoot over, and then I can really get a nice grip where I'm basically grabbing my elbow. Now you might only be able to do that, and that's fine. You might only be able to do that. And if that's where you are, that's fine, but you just over time, and then what you want to do is you want to switch sides, do this side, do that for a little while, then you'll come back to this side. You'll notice this side's even looser, and then you go back to this side, and this side's looser, because they play off each other. Okay, so that's hip stretch 1. Hip stretch 2 is, we're basically going to do, basically you put this leg at 90 degrees and this leg at 90 degrees, one in front, one in back, and you're going to lean forward over your shin bone, probably more toward your foot, but over your shin bone. You never want to feel it in your knee. If you feel it in your knee, that means you got to move your foot either up or down so that you don't. You never want to feel it in your knee. So just adjust your foot if you do. But as you lean forward, you will feel this in your butt. A lot of times you'll feel it here. And that is going to release all those muscles that are yanking, basically yanking on your low back and hips. So that's hip stretch 1, hip stretch 2. And lastly, we have the hamstring stretch. Okay, so I'm about to show you a really, really good hamstring stretch. The best hamstring stretch I've ever found. And basically you really want loose hamstrings, especially if you have back issues, because your hamstrings attach to the bottom of your pelvis, and when they get tight, they pull on those bones at the bottom of your pelvis, and your low back, at the other end of that equation, loses the tug of war, because your low back muscles are not as big or as strong as your hamstrings. So if your hamstrings are loose, your low back can relax, and you generally don't have low back issues if everything else is free. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to have you, basically with the weight kind of in the balls of your feet, I'm going to have you just drop into a hamstring stretch. You might be here, it's fine. You want your legs straight, don't cheat, just to impress us. But just drop with your legs straight, drop into a hamstring stretch wherever that happens to be. And then when you feel the gentle stretch in here, I don't want you straining, when you feel, you're kind of at your max, then I want you to flex your quads, basically straighten your legs, flex your quads as hard as you can, and drop into the stretch even more. So basically, I'm here, well, I'm about here, and then I'm weighting the balls of my feet, and then I'm going to flex my quads and go down as hard as I can, and hold that for 5-10 seconds, and come back up, and then do it again, and you'll find you're flexing these as hard as you can is the key, because that tells your brain to let your hamstrings go, because these work off each other. Flex those, helps those let go, and basically I feel this all the way up my back. So that whole line of tissue is going to let go, so then my low back can relax because it's not being pulled on by all these big strong muscles. So that is the best hamstring stretch I've ever found, and if you do that, you can't do that stretch too much. If you did 3 sets of that 10, 15 times a day, very quickly you'd probably have no more back issues if you just did that alone. But I think you got to do those hip stretches and everything else I showed you, because who knows what you're doing out there. But thank you for your time. Now go back, review what worked, what didn't, what needs more work, and I look forward to hearing how it goes. Thank you.